Auto sequence start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, hello there. Welcome, my fellow mild-mannered mammals, to another installment of Canned Conversation. My name is Andrew, and with me, as always, my good friend Steven.
Well, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Life is treating you okay?
Life is treating me fine. Busy, but okay.
I had a hiccup the other day. My wife came up to me and asked me what mansplaining meant. I didn't know how to proceed.
I could see your quandary there. There's no good answer for that.
All right, do I have the ting? No, I'll just give it an applause. Oh, yeah, I do. Here we go.
Never hurts to do both.
All right, I don't use that. I don't pull that one out a lot. That was obviously a dad joke. I heard another really good one, too, about why did they think the IT professional may have been touching young children.
Oh, no. Why?
Everything he exported was a PDF file.
Oh. He's a PDF file? Got it. I'm with you. Holy Moses, we need
Dad jokes to get started.
that. Perfect.
All right, hopefully that makes your life getting treated however better.
Makes you smile?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I'm looking for a laugh wherever I can find one.
Use that PDF file as many times as you want to. PDF file.
Being an IT person, you know,
Yeah.
it just scratches the right laugh
does.
itch. I'm like, I've never heard it
No.
that way and thought of it that way. Now every time I see a PDF file,
You're going to be like, this is not, I'm not going to open it.
right. Everything's a JPEG or a TIFF or PowerPoint going forward.
Yep.
All right. As the name of our show suggests, one of us brings a new, unique, or rare canned beverage to try. And while we tickle our tonsils with its contents, we will engage in the most entertaining and enlightening conversation and try to actually get through it without stumbling like I'm doing now.
Perfect.
Today's topic being manners and etiquette, not minors. That's a different day.
I think I know what you need.
Manners and etiquette. I know. I need a can. Later in the show, we'll review and rate the canned beverage and let you know if you should try it while providing no help beyond the questions everyone already knows the answer to at your local trivia night.
Great.
Has that happened to you before?
Yes. It's 100% me.
I'm here for the food. And if you don't know one, I'll try. But I'll probably won't know it either. There's 10 people here.
Right. Trivia nights for me are like golf. Like I'm trying to get one good shot in.
Right.
That's it. Like that one shot goes, yeah, it was pretty good that one time.
Yes.
Remember that? I drove like 250 yards and it went straight that one time.
Right.
Perfect.
Every once in a while,
I have one answer.
That question will come up, and I'm the only one that knows, and I'm like,
Journey
mic drop.
or whatever. And you're like, everybody's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, write down Journey. I'm 100% sure it's Journey.
I'm just going to come over here and eat my crave case now. So
That's right.
You guys got the rest of this? Good. All right.
Or it's a tennis question. They all look at you and go, didn't you play tennis? Yeah, but I don't know everything about tennis. It's Yvonne Lindell. But anyway, keep going.
Know that. Excellent. All right. Yeah, I definitely need a can to straighten
You
out
do. It's a mess.
this linguistic
Just a mess.
somersaults I seem to be doing. All right. So this is what we do to get things started.
You witch.
Batman. With all your many attributes, you haven't learned the first thing about good manners. A gentleman would kiss a lady's hand.
It's another bit of a softball for the line for you to guess.
It says Batman
It says
in the title.
Right in the
Or
title.
in the thing.
I'll give you bonus points for knowing if you know it's not really a movie, it is the show. Do you remember who played Batman in that?
Adam West or something?
Yay! Look
Winner.
at you.
Yay. I'm
give
so
him a
good
round.
at this.
Excellent job on that. So yeah, Adam West Batman era, and that was him talking to Catwoman.
There you go.
So yeah, let's get into this can because this is a fun can that I found, and I'm like, we have never ever done a sangria, and I saw a sangria in a can, and I have an affinity for peach.
Yeah.
So
You've got the
this
best
was
of both worlds.
right. This was a bango bango bongo.
Yeah.
I was hyped about it. So from St. James Winery, which is in the great state of Missouri, established in 1970, comes a Peachy Sangria. It is a sparkling sangria, clocking in at 375 milliliters or 12 Florida ounces, 6.5% alcohol by volume, made with 100% real fruit, gluten-free, no added flavors. So it's straight up peach and wine and whatever goes into a sangria. So normally when I've had sangria at gatherings, it seems to be a lot, stuff in a pitcher, variations of wine and other goods.
Yeah. So this makes me laugh because there's a picture of a wine bottle and it says 1 can equals half a bottle of wine. That makes me slightly nervous.
At only 6.5.
I know, that's weird, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's
interesting.
right.
Well, I don't know.
I'm not
we'll find
questioning
out.
the statistics on here. I just think that's not really, I don't know. Okay. 6.5% alcohol, 12 ounce can, 12 Florida ounces. And then, but it equals a 1/2 of a bottle of wine. Yeah. I read that right. So
the very small print on this, it does say it doesn't get any closer to the orchard than this. Our Peachy Sangria delivers on a trio of ripe, mouth-watering peach flavors, juicy Moscato, and a touch of raspberry. Pair with some pairing stuff and all that. I won't get into the other pieces of it, but so a Moscato wine
Pairs with good discussion about manners.
and then some sparklies put into it. So I'm hyped and I can't wait to try it.
Awesome.
All right. Yes. So let's talk about where have good manners gone, if anywhere. So that's kind of just how I wanted to get this started here is, I think there were a couple of things that came up in my life where I go, that doesn't seem right. Now, some of them are manners and etiquette.
Okay.
More etiquette, some of them.
Okay.
So I kind of lump the two together. But I'll tell you the genesis of this thought. And my youngest child is not yet old enough to drive, but she's old enough to have friends and want to go hang out. And so she asks, hey, Dad, can you take me to my friend's house or this hangout spot? And I say, yeah, sure. And I take her and then I go, hey, by the way, how are you getting home? And she'll go, I was hoping I could get a ride.
Okay.
So any thought provoking in you when you hear that?
So if you're touching it from a manners perspective,
Manners and etiquette.
yeah, like there's an inconvenience factor when you're asking someone to do something. You should probably prepare them with some expectations around what you actually need. Like is there any way you could take me to this place? I will also need a ride home
Yes.
all at once. So you have all the expectation up front. That would be super nice.
That is very nice.
That would be probably the most polite thing to do. I'm guessing that's not really what happens. And I'm wondering if it's just the ability to plan well.
Well, so that
think that
is
far ahead.
an item that I have talked with her about, right? Because she tends to give me half the information,
Right.
and then drop the other half right at the time.
Yeah.
But-
Just in time information.
But that's not really where I was going with it.
Okay.
Was I said, hey, you're going to hang out with a friend. Do they have parents? And she's like, yes. And I go, back in my day, I know that's kind of an old man speak, right? Get
Wow.
off my lawn.
Yep.
But back in my day, if my parents took me to some place, then the other parents brought
Would
me
drive
home.
you home.
Yeah. Was that not the case in your youth?
I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying attention and was super not polite because I don't even know. I think they took turns a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
Turns.
yeah, like, hey, Steve wants to hang out with his friend. Sometimes his mom or dad would come pick me up, and sometimes my
Right.
mom would drop me off.
Right.
And yeah, so I think there was turns involved. Sure.
Right. Not one person. It seems too that, and especially if it's a not house of that person, if it's a hangout spot.
Oh, where they're having to drive it. Like every parent has to
efficiency-
drive anyway.
Efficiency makes it. Why would everyone drive separate?
Right.
And I asked, hey, did they offer to to me? It's etiquette, right? Like to go, hey, your kid, my kid want to hang out. You do one, I go the other. I don't know. That's just me.
Did you take their kid to the place?
That particular circumstance, no.
Did you ask?
Well, I did actually. I
And
said,
say, does she need a ride or he need a ride?
right. I said, hey, I can drive one way. And my daughter
Somebody
was like, no, they'll already be there.
Do you think it's just people are starting to be more in their bubble now? They're only taking care of their own stuff.
Yeah.
It used to more be
it
a
was-
community raising your kid. Now it's not as much.
Yeah, and it's not reaching out to be. I don't want to say friends because you don't have to necessarily be friends with your kids' friends, parents, but at least a sense of, hey, our kids are hanging out, so it's okay if we converse, or and I think there's less of that.
Yeah, I don't think parents know who their kids know the parents of their kids as frequently as they did when we were like.
Agreed.
It used to be you kind of needed to know, the parents needed to know each other, know of each other, have talked to each other once in their life in order for kids to be able to hang out correctly.
Yeah.
Like go places together. So I don't think they do that anymore. It's just
less of it.
Go drop your kid off somewhere. Somebody else's kid meet you there. Who knows who they are?
So it got me thinking.
Okay.
And I agree with you completely. So like, that's kind of where some of these are coming from, hang on to that theory of,
okay,
in today's age, is it different than say 20, 40, 50 years ago? So I kind of broke these out into some sections because, me. So
that's how you work.
Right. I'm going to go, I kind of, just was jotting things down, and I'm like, family and friends. All right. If you're talking with someone and their device dings with a notification, what do you expect to occur? And you can answer in terms of family, direct family, and friends. It's like somebody,
so
not just a stranger on the street. You're talking to someone that well. Their device dings. What is your expectation of what will occur?
So, what's rude is to answer or look at your phone and see what's going on, as if that's more important than the conversation you're having. Super rude. I do it all the time. Especially at home. Like I'll be on my phone and they're having a conversation, and I'm like, trying to text with somebody, and I'm like, yeah, I got you. We'll do that. No, put your phone down. Have a conversation with the person in front of you. Like it should be a cue, right? Like you should take a number and go, okay, this person has number 37 for the day. I'm now serving 37. I'm going to have my conversation with you, and then I'm now serving 38, which is this text that's on my phone, like a deli counter, right?
Yeah. Yes. And I agree.
I don't do that, though.
Oh, so you're the bad guy.
Oh,
I
I'm
think,
a jerk like that. My wife will tell you I'm a jerk. Sorry.
Well, that's my point now. I'm not trying to like virtue signal here or anything on any of these, right? Because there's I'm going to bring up ones that I'm bad at too. But on this one,
it's Pavlov's dog for me.
It really is one of and my poor wife will tell you, because we'll be talking, and she'll pick up her phone, and and I immediately stop, and sometimes I'll just walk away.
And she's like,
and right, and she's like, this was I just needed this real quick, and I go, whenever you're done, let me know when you have an allotment of time.
Yep.
And
pencil me in for
she
five
hates when I do that.
5 straight minutes. That's what I need.
And I apologize, because I am sort of passive aggressively, being like, hey, I'm talking. I don't always talk to you. You have a lot of hours in the day. You can get to that. And a text shouldn't be immediate. Like, so that it dovetails.
They're not calling you. They're texting you. It will sit there for a while.
Yeah. And that dovetails into my next one is, how long is it acceptable to reply to a text?
I'm horrible at this. I'm horrible at everything. I think I may need to be on medication.
Miss Manners did not teach you well.
I think it's within a week. Give or take 2 days. I don't know. There's some things I think about and want to come back to, because I don't know, like I'm not ready to respond to it yet, or I need to have a conversation. Sure. And then I just don't, because I've got 18 other things that came on top of that. And I'm like, crap, I never did get back. Like I'm horrible. I'm a horrible communicator.
Yeah. I know I've done that. I think everybody, I'm sure, has. You, my friend,
are horrible.
You take the cake sometimes, and it's funny because I'll go, hey, by the way, remember that I sent you this text, and you're like, did I never reply to that?
Yeah, but I 100% read it, right? Like, and I go, oh, I need it, and I'll think about something. I'll be like, oh, I probably need to respond, but I'm going to check on something, and then I'll never go back. Like it just never happens. I don't know why.
What do you think if you weren't you, and you were talking to you and said, hey, you can improve on something, what do you think the appropriate answer is? What do you think about?
Get on medication so you can focus on one damn task at a time.
Well, I mean, just how long do you think it should take you to respond?
If I weren't me, I think you have a text and you get it. I think you have probably 4 to 6 hours to respond.
I'll give you 24. I'll say within a day. That gives you, because you never know when it's coming.
Because if you need
right? If
me,
it comes
you
in at
should
7,
call me. Right? Like if you need to know something now, you should call me.
Agreed. But so where I was kind of going is like if you get it at 7 at night and you're kind of like, oh, I'm in my family time thing, and then tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go to work.
Yep.
So I'm going to find some time. I'll give you 24 is what I think. Now I'm not Miss Manners, right? Which reminds me, I did when I was looking up some of these because I'm like, is there a source for this? And you know that
It's Miss Manners.
that's still a thing. Yes. To this, and that started back in 1922. So 100 years ago. Emily Post. It's called Etiquette by Emily Post, and the first edition was 1992. It's in its 19th edition, and if you go to emilypost.com, they have a podcast for manners. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. And then articles, but then the book, you can actually get your hands on the full book.
Do they have something that tells you how to be better at it, not just tell you that you're doing it wrong?
Well, they suggest what the etiquette is. So if you are doing it wrong,
You should
they say
stop.
conform to our book, and
Okay.
you will be more polite in society.
Okay.
You will help society use the system of rules and conventions that we've all sort of want to be in place. All right. So should you stand and greet someone nowadays if they come into a room?
I think I try to. I think it's, I mean, there are certain people that like, depends on the relationship. If you're meeting someone for the first time, I think you should. Somebody brings in a new boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever.
Right.
Or like you meet somebody's, whatever, professionally, you probably should. If like, you're like, hey, brother, like if you came in, like we went to the same wedding and we drove separately, right? Like,
Right.
And you come to the
Right.
table, I'm not going to greet you. I'm not going to like stand up and bow or something or shake your
You know what's
hand.
funny is I think you would actually stand up.
I might.
Because I think it's almost ingrained in certain generations. I don't know if the younger generation is just something I thought of where I'm like, there's been a couple of times where I'm like, I'm sitting and someone said, you don't have to get up. And I felt like I was pushing myself not to.
Right.
Right. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. And then I will get up anyway. And I'm like, here, let me shake your hand,
Have you ever rushed to someone to allow them to not get up so you can like give them a hug while they're sitting down and just be like done with it?
No, I've never rushed to anyone to give them a hug.
I figured you had.
I
That seems
did
like something you would do.
I've upgraded my touch software, but it's not quite
that.
the 3.0.
There's no rush version. Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome. My touch software.
It is.
May be one of the highlights of this whole thing. is
Yeah.
When you're like, I've upgraded.
And my family loves it too now because I will give someone a hug and they're like, oh, I love that you upgraded your software.
That's awesome.
All right.
All right.
Here's one that is in my family. So I reached out to my family before this and I said,
Okay, you
give
did
me
research.
Yeah, I said, give me some. Actually, I said, I thought this was gonna. I sort of phrased it in if you had a complaint box in the family, give me some of your complaints of stuff that people do around the house that you don't like to do. And I said, just I'm not going to try to fix them right here, but I'm going to bring them to the podcast for entertainment and all of our
Right, for people to laugh
our
at us.
listeners to
Yeah,
listen.
absolutely.
To. And here's one of mine that I tell that I comes up, but then one of my children also brought this up. And this happens in our house. I don't know if it happens in yours. If there's one or more people in a shared room and they're watching or listening to their device, so let's say it's the living room, family room, and they're like watching a show on their phone, and you come in and you want to turn on the TV. What's the etiquette there?
Your device is mobile, the TV is not. Although I'm torn on this one. So in our house, the TV is rarely not on. So I think it holds precedence over a mobile device. And I probably do it every once in a while. I hope nobody else can hear it, but the TV's on. I don't care about what's on, and I'm browsing through Instagram reels, right? And there's volume to it, right?
Yes.
And I want to be able to hear it, but I don't want to disrupt everybody else, so I'll turn it way down. But it drives me crazy when somebody's listening to their phone,
Right.
And there's like it's loud enough to where everybody can hear it, and the TV's going. I'm like, you got to shut that thing down. I'm not okay with that.
And the younger folks have grown up more with devices. So I see my kids will tend, for me, in our generation, I think we're like, dude, I got this 60-inch television.
Right. You're
with
looking
some
at
sound.
crap
Right.
on a 4-inch screen.
If I can, I'm going to put it up on that thing, where they'll be sitting on a couch in front of the off TV watching a show on a tiny little screen
on a streaming device that they could watch on
Right.
the TV.
Yeah, because we have streaming on the TV now, and so when I come in, I go, I announce I'm going to turn the TV on. I hear you watching a show.
I announce.
Put your earbuds in because you have that ability, and sometimes I get side eyed. Like oh, I was here first.
Yeah, but you have the ability to put earbuds in. I can't, right? Like that's the thing. You could use your earbuds. You can use the technology to your advantage, but you should just watch it on the big screen. Why wouldn't you do that?
It's generational.
You'll be blind by the time you're 40. Who cares?
But there's an etiquette sort of to that, so that it comes up, and I try to be nice about it and say I'll give them 5 minutes. Like I'm giving you a 5-minute warning. I'm going to go put some dishes away or whatever. I'm going to come back. I'm going to turn on the TV. Give you some time.
That's way
find
nicer
some
than I would
earbuds.
be. I'd be like, TV on.
And then you just turn up the volume.
Yeah,
or
you're just like, it's on 40 now.
Can't hear yours.
My TV can get louder than your phone. Just kidding. That's
all right. It's one of my children also, and I agree with this. I think this happens more. I noticed it. We had Mother's Day not that long. We hosted, and this comes up a lot in family togetherness. But interrupting someone while they're talking, and sort of like they're telling a story. And they're like, oh, I was at the pool. And you're like, oh, I was at the pool the other day. Like just one-off little comments, or they say a name and you're like, oh, what's that person doing?
Right.
Hold on to that thought. Like, and they might try to say, oh, hold on, we'll come back. But it seems like in yesteryear, that's the oldest thing I could think of.
My goodness.
No one, like interrupting, I feel like back in the day was pretty uncouth, right? But now it seems like everybody's got something to say, so they just cannot wait to get it out.
Yeah. I think.
So what do you think about that?
I think it happened.
I thought that once too. No, okay. I'm sorry. That was obviously a joke.
Sorry. Not sorry. So yeah, I think my family probably does that. I know our family does that. Like people get jacked up about a story and somebody's like 2 out of the 3 people in the room or 2 out of the 4 people in the room were at that thing. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, oh yeah, but what about this? And you're like, it's like their story to tell. And I, for some reason, got to jump into it, or it's my story to tell and you're jumping all over it.
Right.
I've got one family member that hates it. Like it's their pet peeve, like when you interrupt. And so they're just shut it down. Like you're going to interrupt, turn it off.
Right.
Done. You missed your chance to hear the story. So I know it's a pet peeve, but
yeah, my poor youngest, it really, you can tell her, you're right. And she doesn't always say something. And I think, she kind of thinks, oh, I'm the youngest, so everybody's just going to jump on. And I'm kind of, and sometimes I really try to go, okay, tell me, get back. Let's not lose. And, but that's a big pet peeve of hers. Not only here with our family, but she'll talk about at school, she's like, I'm trying to say something, and somebody else chimes in with something that they want to talk about.
It's all the tangential stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Like that you're like, yeah, it's that person. Oh, I know a story about that person. Well, I'm telling a story about that person. Leave me alone.
Now again, adjacent to that, now this is something that does bother me a little, grinds my gears.
Okay.
I'm talking to you. Say you have any type of kid, really, but tends to happen with some less than teenage maybe, or maybe even teenagers, but the kid comes up and starts talking to you about something and you go, hold on just a minute. And you address little Sally or little Joey. And that irks me and I go,
irks you because it's a parenting moment where you go, hey, you should be teaching the child that you don't interrupt. Just give it a minute and say, hey, I need your attention. And then stand there patiently for a second till I'm done talking, and then I'll address you. But people don't teach their kids
unless
that.
Sally's on fire and Joey's coming to tell that she's on fire, then, then the parent should say like, 1 second, I'm talking. I will get you in just a moment. You wait for that natural time and you go, okay, it's your turn. But I feel like that doesn't happen now, right? Like it's all of a sudden kids talking. Oh, hold on. Like they tell me to hold on.
Yeah. And you're like, damn it, I'm way older than that person.
Right.
Listen to my words.
Right. Sally's not on fire. She's fine. Teach your kid.
Yeah, that's what Band-Aids are for. That'll stop the bleeding.
That's right. All right. So now let's talk about who gets the leftovers. This is a family thing.
Are they leftovers from a restaurant?
Either way. Because what came to mind was, pizza And in our house, and as kids got older, right? Like little kids didn't care about leftovers, right? They were just like, hey, make me something. It's very, but now that they're getting older, it seems like they really like something for dinner and they're like, oh, I want those leftovers. Well, I'll eat it for lunch because I'm like, hey, leftovers I work from home a lot. I'm just going to grab this.
It's whatever's in the
super
fridge.
easy.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And then the poor kid comes home it's their favorite, one of their favorites, like spaghetti in our house. Like a kid, I have one that it's their favorite meal. And they'll, so now
they were waiting for the spaghetti to eat it as
poor
leftovers.
thing is taking out spaghetti and putting it in her own container. That's enough for her for leftovers, and then putting it into the fridge. But like somebody for pizza.
I ate my kid's pizza today for lunch, literally today.
And any feedback on that?
No, she doesn't know. I'm sure she hasn't noticed, but she also won't eat it. I don't think she would. I feel like I have specific rules because now that I've thought about this, the specific rule is if it was cooked for family dinner, open for them. Whoever wants to eat the meal that was cooked in the house gets to eat it. Don't care as long as it gets eaten, so you don't waste it.
Sounds good.
If it comes from a restaurant and it was if it's your meal, people have to ask you permission to eat that leftover thing that came from a restaurant that you ordered. So I think before I go eat my wife's Red Lobster or whatever I should ask her first and go, hey, can I have that? That's hers because it's in a box that she specifically had to carry.
Yes.
So
she cared for it.
She brought it home. She put it in the fridge. She did work on just that to make sure that she had that piece of whatever it was. So yeah, you should ask permission if it's a restaurant thing. If it's home cooked meal, it's a free for all when it hits the fridge.
Yeah, agreed.
First come, first serve.
I like it. All right, here's another one that came from my family. In the complaint box that I asked for, but I asked for it and I already knew it. In fact, someone in the group chat of the family said, can you give us an example? And I said, yes, here's my example. Hey, can you have one of your employees stop taking the stuff I've come in and just set down and putting it someplace that I don't know where they put it, especially if it's someplace that I don't deem as clean. So just to translate, that would be me. I'm the employee in the establishment.
Yep.
People will come in and drop stuff in a shared space.
Yeah.
It'll sit for a while.
Table countertop, whatever.
Mm-hmm. And at some point I just go, I'm sick of seeing this. It's taking up a bunch of room. You know me. I'm like, I don't like clutter. So I grab it and I'll try to put it in the right room. But sometimes I mess up on whose it is. Especially shoes, because now they all wear about the same size.
Right.
And I'm guessing.
Yeah.
and or if they are shoes, I'll throw them out in the garage. And apparently the rest of the family thinks that there's spiders and mice and whatever that are going to crawl in there and it won't be wearable. So what are your feelings on shared space, not shared items being dropped and left? What's the etiquette of the house?
I mean, if you're asking, so that's two different things. What is etiquette? What is good etiquette? And then what do I do? Which one? I don't think they're the same.
Answer however you deem you should.
I think my wife would tell you that I leave stuff around. I put things down and I walk off and I forget it's there.
Yeah.
Which is probably the exact problem you're dealing with at your house when people put stuff on the counter and go, oh yeah, I can always see it when I walk by and know where it's at. I'll come back and get that at some point, and you just never do. It sits there for days. Proper etiquette's take care of your stuff, right? Like you shouldn't inconvenience others. It's just like freedom of everything else, right? Like your freedom shouldn't infringe on mine.
Right.
This shared space, your possession shouldn't infringe on my ability to use that same shared space. Although it's probably not, it just annoys you. It's not infringing upon your.
It's kind of that's a hard one,
but you
because
should take care of your stuff.
In rebuttal, they'll say,
Oh, well, allow me to retort.
Right.
And they'll say this whole house is sort of it's all of ours, right? So like if I put something on the counter, it's our counter. It's my counter too,
right?
Essentially. Who's to say that doesn't belong on, or that's okay?
What's the time limit? Like if I set a pair of shoes on your counter,
well,
I'm going to piss you off because it's shoes.
Yeah.
Shoes shouldn't be on the counter to begin with, but still.
Well, we've gotten to a point, everything evolves. So we've gotten to a point where if you start to put it down, I'll go put those into your room before you set them down.
Before I set them on fire in the trash can.
If I see you start to set them down, I try to circumvent the whole thing and go like, hey, why don't you put that in your room? I don't take a few more steps. and just put it in there.
And that goes over well?
No.
Okay.
And then if it happens that it's there, I'll look at it and I'll go, okay. And then a couple hours into the evening, if it goes into the evening and I know you've come into that room at least a couple of times and haven't dealt with it.
So it doesn't make it 24 hours in the house?
No, not usually.
You're talking like 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah, I'm talking by the end of the evening. Stuff
Evening
should be
being
put
like
away.
nighttime starts at like 7 or 8,
Yeah,
right? Okay,
right.
so before 7.
Right. Yeah. Or if I get up to go to bed and I see stuff, or I don't know.
Huh.
Or if I see it the next morning.
How have they not learned this lesson yet?
They would again want to retort on that to say it's not a lesson they should learn, it's a lesson I should learn.
Oh,
But
but still, usually something changes behavior. We're like, I'm sick of this. And then they just change behavior because they're sick of it, but maybe not. All right.
All right, let's get into another realm. We've talked about family for a little bit, but I want to touch on some driving stuff and a couple other shopping. I got some shopping ones, a couple. These are less because I only have a couple because we've talked a lot different driving things, but I'm like, in the terms of manners, this has come up recently more so, and so it was on mind, right? When a car goes to enter your lane, do you speed up, slow down, get aggressive to not let them come over, or do you let them in?
Depends on how they're acting. So act like a normal driver. Put your blinker on. I need to come over. I will let you in. I will slow down to let you in. Act like a complete jackhole where you're trying to go use the right lane to speed by a bunch of people and like pass and like do all kinds of crazy crap. You're not getting in. I'll be aggressive as hell. I can't help it.
I'm talking more normal
Like
circumstances.
if people put their blinker on, I'll let them in. If you want to get over and everybody's driving normal and there's normal traffic, I can back off. I can ease off my gas pedal, let you come over, and it's all good. Like I don't have any problem with that at all. Don't you think that's polite?
I do, and I feel like again, I'm not trying to signify anything that I'm the best, but I do feel like I try to think of other people and go, hey, well, they didn't necessarily know a turn was coming up, so they're trying to get over. And I'm going to let them, right? Because I would want the same in my shoes. But I feel like when I've been going to get over, people have been getting more aggressive.
Yeah.
Right. And at first, I used to tell my wife would say, oh, they're not doing that on purpose. They're being a jerk about it. And I'm like, well, maybe they just didn't see your blinker. They're off in their own headspace listening to a podcast like ours.
Yeah, as you should.
And they're just not seeing you.
Yep.
And she was like, no, I think
That's
they did it on
purposeful.
purpose. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I think I'm seeing that more often. And I'm curious. I'm like, is it just people feels like they're getting more aggressive?
I think driving is getting more aggressive. I like to speed. Not gonna lie to you. But there's some really aggressive drivers that are they don't leave a lot of room between them and the other person. They kind of sneak into in and out of people. Like there's just no. I'm like, dude, you're a foot from my bumper. How are you getting over right now? It's crazy town. Like, be respectful. Like that. I feel like if I will try to drive respectfully most of the time.
Here's another item. Oh, this is coming up a lot. So we don't have to spend time on this, but just parking in more than one spot. Oh, yeah. I took a picture the other day of this. I was walking to my car. I was outside Sam's, and this truck pulled up and was taking up 4 spaces. I mean, it was in the it was a Target, right, where the lines were. That the middle dissection he was over the top of 4 spaces, and I thought. I was going to my car and he was just parking there and people were getting out. And I'm like, maybe he's letting people out here.
No, he got out and went in.
Yeah. And I'm sitting in my car and they left and I'm like, that is 4 spaces. I mean, 2 is bad, right? That's a jerk move. If you don't want people near your car, park in the back and walk.
Yeah. You don't drive a Lamborghini. You're driving a truck. I get trucks. But even if you want,
I don't like door dings. I hate them. So I purposefully
park away.
I park right. To my family's dismay, because wherever we go, I'm like, I don't want to park next to people.
Yeah, it's a quarter-mile walk. No matter
people
what.
Don't seem to care. They'll just open their door and let it hit your car, and they're like,
Yeah. But to take up 4, I've seen a lot of people take up 2.
Right.
And also, I think I've seen a lot of trucks pull, go to a pull through, and when they and they pull through, but they don't go all the way through, and so their bed's sitting in one space and they're in the other.
Right. It's not side by side.
No, it's back and forth. Lengthways too, right? And you're like,
which doesn't even make sense to me.
Which means if I have a truck, I can't pull in behind you.
Right.
because my truck barely fits in spots anyway. Like I feel like these damn things are too big for parking
And
spots.
cars can still park right next to yours.
Right.
So I don't understand that one.
I don't either.
Unless you are towing something, and I've seen that where you kind of pull up and you're taking up back
Yeah.
and forth space. But
Yeah.
I don't know. And then I put in here, so we spent more time on that one than I thought. But I also noticed the blocking the box. This came up again. This came up recently. I was in the car.
Mailbox?
When you get stuck in the middle of an intersection because you refuse to stop at the green, there's a green light, but you see there's a line that's waiting for whatever's causing, like maybe a light that's up there, whatever. And you're like, I'll go through this green.
I'll sit
and
in
you're
the middle,
sitting in the middle of the
section.
intersection, and you're not, and then it turns red, and you're still sitting there, and the people that need to go across.
Yeah, you've screwed up everyone. Like you basically parallel parked in the middle of an intersection.
Yeah, and then they look around as if they don't. They're like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
well, what's happening?" Like, because and there's some people get really aggressive about that. They're on the cross, right? And they'll just lay on their horn, right?
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
they're not going anywhere, but like they're making a point,
Yeah.
right? And you see the people are like, "What? Oh my gosh!" Like you didn't see that giant line of cars in front of you.
You did that on purpose. That was intentional. Everybody's actions here were intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad manners, bad etiquette.
Bad manners.
All right.
Although I get it, and I've probably been that jerk at least once or twice in my life where you go, I can't wait. Like, because those intersections, they get all crazy blocked.
Yeah.
Like the people behind you get crazy too. They're just like, you go. And you're like you're getting all this weird pressure, like driver pressure.
I've had that, and just where it came up is where I stopped at a green, and I was looking behind me, and I'm like, is this person going to think I should go? But I'm not, because I'm not getting stuck. I hate it. And I'm not great at measuring sometimes, because I think that's another thing, is that people I think I can just fit. Right.
Where everybody can still kind of get around me. And then you get out there and you're like, oh, I would have to be inside that car for me to just fit. So now I'm blocking a lane. Yeah. I don't like it either.
All right, let's talk about, so let's dovetail into shopping because of the blocking, the truck that was at Sam's. So just out of curiosity, if you grab something off the shelf and later decide you don't want it, what do you do with it?
Put it on any shelf you find.
That's better than just dropping it in the middle of the aisle.
No, I think you have to put it back where you found it. I think I usually do. I hate that because I don't like to have to go all the way back to an aisle that you started on.
Right.
But I also don't shop very often, so it doesn't tick me off that much. So,
have you ever thought, I don't need this, but I don't really want to put it back, so I'm just going to buy it? I'd rather do that than just throw something in a place that it's not supposed to go.
You can't go to a grocery store or a Walmart right now and stand in line in an actual checkout line and not see an apple, a deck of cards, and something else in amongst all the candy. Right? Like people are just like, I don't want this apple or this deck of cards or this sifter. Right? And you're like, they just take it out of their cart and put it in the candy aisle. You're like, what is wrong with, like, you got to here.
Right.
You made it all the way to checkout. And then you're like, looked at your cart and like, who put all this random stuff in my cart? I don't need any of this.
10 minutes ago, myself was an idiot.
Right.
Thinking they could afford all this.
I don't trust anything I've put in my cart. Like, I'm just,
it just, when it's funny, and I don't know why it bothers me. I worked at a grocery store. That's probably why. And I had to, when I find stuff, I'd have to restock.
Yeah.
And people would always, so that we also had this cart of, I forgot what they called it. I think it might have been called overstock. And it was all a cart of crap that got somehow put, in places and all that stuff. And I had to take a long time and go find everywhere to put it back. And I'm like, this could have been avoided if like a lot of people doing little bits of work could have prevented me doing this a lot of work. Yeah. And I'm sure that still happens in stores where they have the overstock kind of thing, but I'll see something. The worst is when I see it's a refrigerated item.
Yeah.
That's like sitting by the crackers. I'm like, really?
Yeah. It's one of those little things of half and half next to some deodorant and next to like a syringe or something. And you're like, what are people leaving in? Like, come on.
All right. So now you get to the checker, right?
Yeah.
So, but you forgot something. Do you go, hold on and run back?
Bad etiquette.
Or do you just go, either I'm going to live without it or I'm
taking this stuff to the car and we're going to make one more lap.
Yes.
Yeah. Those people that go, hold on, I forgot oranges. And you're like, that's a long way away.
Right. And you don't want bad oranges, so you're going to want to pick them out.
So you're going to I forgot the watermelon. You're like, oh my God, you're going to sit over there and thump a watermelon for 3 minutes. And all of your stuff's done. Like, come on.
Agree. Now, I will say, if you're the exception to the rule, I think if you can time it well, if you just get to the checkout and you have a large cart and you have a partner and your partner can run, I will say, if you get back here
in time for me to check out, to not hold up the line.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So
I agree.
Run.
Yeah.
We've had some running before, or that's me. Like, I'll do it. Hey, you stay here
You
and mind the
start checking
cart.
out. It's
I'm
all
going to
good.
sprint. All right. So I've covered the gamut of shopping. If there's any more in that, you just let me know. I've covered driving. We're at
We need to rate a beer.
Yeah. Too many bad manner stuff I got going on here.
Yeah, that's bad manners to not stop and ask if we
Right.
need to rate this thing.
So let's take a moment, and this section of the show is brought to you by our rating system.
Yeah. R, not like R, like, sorry. Anyway, keep moving.
17 and older, R rating.
Yeah, there you go.
Our G-rated section. Anyway, so
Peach Sangria.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
I will get started.
Have you had any?
One more to just enjoy that. So I think I'm just going to switch it up and give you my rating first, and then just simmer on it because this thing is awesome. I give it a 5. I love this thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So part of it is probably the fact that it's unique, in that I have never had a sangria in a can, and I feel like we've looked at a lot of cans. So I don't think that it's like, oh, there's this stockpile of wines and sangrias in a can that that I'm missing. And I'm sure, and I know there are bottled sangrias, but people also make it from recipe like they like.
Yeah.
We had friends that used to make their own and loved it. And theirs was very good as well. I did enjoy it more so than straight wine drinking because I'm not a wine drinker by trade.
I'm not either.
But for whatever reason, and it's because my proclivity to peach, probably, and if it was a different flavor, it might not have hit the 5 mark. But for me, love the peach taste. Love this peach taste. This is true peach, and it's probably because it's not fake. It says it's made with 100% fruit juice. Maybe that's why, because it tastes really spot on for peach. It has just the amount of carbonation, which I was a little leery about because I was like, I feel like
It's
the
sparkling.
carbonation, right? Because I think of sangria as more of a wine and less sparkly. And when we've had sparkly wine, I think the one that we had, or maybe 2, did not go well. So I was like, I really want this to be good. I love this. It's light. It's not heavy. It is refreshing. I could drink this all day on a Sunday. Just enjoying the afternoon after cutting the lawn and sitting out and barbecuing. I know that sounds like beer territory, and it normally is. But if I went to a winery, I would want this to be an option.
So 100% on that. Like if you can get this at a winery,
Yeah.
do this all day.
Well, you can apparently at St. James.
Technically, do this for at least 2 cans because that would be a full bottle of wine.
Yeah.
That's plenty.
This is so good. I like, so yeah.
So yeah, you're at a solid
I will tell
5.
people if I can grab more of this, I'm definitely going
You're
to.
pushing on people.
And then if people come over, I'm going like, hey, have you ever tried sangria? Because I don't think sangria is also a very huge thing.
It's like port. There's like these little niches
Yeah.
of people that like certain things,
Right.
Like port wine and sangria. So I don't like wine, right? We know
right.
this. I don't drink
I'm not
wine.
a huge wine either. But yeah.
And the thing that you said about it's 100% real fruit juice is what's funny to me because usually when I opened this and thought, oh, it's peach, I thought I was gonna get that like peach tea taste, and that's that fake. It's
Right.
And you're like, oh, it's not really that fake peach like that you're used to going. Oh, that's super peachy. It's not super peachy to me. It's a mellow taste. I agree, love it. I'm a 4, but it's because I don't really love wine. But if we went to a winery, I would drink this over a beer. Just to pretend like I'm still doing the
Right.
wine thing with people because I always feel bad where they're like,
Yes.
let's taste test some wine. I'm like, do you have anything that tastes like beer but looks like wine? I'm like, just put it in a cup and pretend it. Like I always
Yeah.
feel bad, but this is awesome. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Really good. So I gave it a 4, but it's only because I'm not a huge wine fan. I don't think I would drink a couple of these. And I will tell people about these. I'm like, we ought to get these for stuff. But I got your point. I probably wouldn't drink these after mowing the yard, just because I don't really have the taste for wine after I mow the yard.
Yeah, I think I was just
Like
sort of setting the stage for that.
You're more ritzy than I am, apparently, because I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, it's really good. It is really good.
If I had a riding lawnmower, I might drink these while mowing.
Yeah. These are definitely a while mowing, not after mowing. You need a beer after mowing. These are while mowing.
I agree. I think what I was just mowing may have been the wrong sentiment, but
just kidding.
it's sort of that Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, no, this is
just chilling,
sit back on the patio
in a
and chill.
patio
Yeah,
in a
absolutely.
nice spring day where you can, you got the wind kind of ruffling. Oh man, I got the whole setup in my
you do
in my head.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was a good pick. I'm impressed.
I'm glad. Yeah, I was again. I thought this could go either way.
Yeah, the canned wine. Like
right.
we've had bad canned wine.
Yes.
Here. So
All right.
awesome. Where are we going next?
We're still on manners, but we're going to the movie theater.
Oh, I hate the movie theater.
I know, but I wanted
a
to put it in
passion.
here because,
Because you love the movie theater.
well, just a couple of things. My biggest one is, well, I actually have a few. Turn off your phone, stop talking, and don't bring toddlers to movies that aren't G-rated cartoons. But my biggest pet peeve is when people leave and it looks like everything that they bought at the concession stand blew up.
yeah, like a bomb exploded in their
Yeah.
lap, and just there's popcorn and Twizzlers and soda everywhere.
Right.
I worked at a movie theater. I'm aware of those people very, very well.
And I do feel bad for those workers. I know it's their job, but dang, man, like you just do a little bit of like crowd control, munchie control. I mean, like when you're at your house, there's no way you get up from your couch and it is annihilated.
Right.
As some of these things.
And that was
I've
always
seen.
my point is that when you watch a movie on your VHS tape at home, do you completely destroy your entire house? If not, why do you do that here? Like, why do you spill everything you bought? Like there's 100 ounces of soda in your spot. Like you had to go back and get a refill and spill it too. Like we only sell it 32 ounces at a time.
Right.
Like how many times did you go back and spill it here? Like those people drive me nuts.
And there's popcorn everywhere. It's like they popped it there, but didn't have any kind of lid on it.
Oh yeah.
And
just an open walk with pop. Yeah.
And I've seen people actively, because I'll sit around and kind of wait for people to leave. I don't like trying to get in a line, right? So, and I'll just actively see people sort of have something in their hand, take one final whatever, and just set it down. I'm like, okay, you couldn't even just take their
You're walking
trash
by the
cans.
trash cans.
Yeah, they have them
strategically placed.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. They are right where you just walk through and you don't have to do much. Just your arm reaches out and drops the stuff that what's wrong with you?
Yeah, bad manners, bad etiquette.
People are dumb.
So this happened to me last week. I arrived first at my niece was having a little recital in her school, and got there, had to park across the street because they have 2 a year, so all the parents and grandparents come, and it was the first one I came to as the uncle, and I got there first, and I get in line just naturally, and then the line forms after me. What about people that who show up later? What's the etiquette or manners? Is it okay for them to all join me in my spot in line, or should they be in theirs?
I mean, technically you should save them seats, but they should be at the back. You should get in line in the order in which you came. However, if you are in front and you go, I'm saving 4 seats, great. You're saving 4 seats, I get it.
Right.
But
So this one I was torn on because I obviously, they just walked up and we started talking, and I'm like, but sometimes when I've seen
the people behind you are like, oh, you are kidding me.
Well, and they all came sort of separately. My sister came first. It's her kid. So she was, and I were talking. So they saw one person come up and cut in. And then my parents came. So that's a set of 2.
Cut in.
Then my wife came. I could just only imagine.
Yeah, they're like, if this person has any more family members, I'm going to throw a fit.
Right.
You have a riot at a kid's ballerina or ballet recital.
I was kind of half in my mind. I thought it would be hilarious if some stranger from the back of the line just came up and joined us and was like, I know you guys too.
Right. We all know you.
Yeah. Your kid goes to the same school my kid goes to. All right. So
bad etiquette.
Well, yeah, that's fringy for me. Probably because,
Because it just happened.
It just happened. And then
Yep.
could you imagine all of us being spaced out in the line? And I'm kind of looking down the line. Oh, there's my sister. There's my parents. And then farther down the line is my wife. And I'm going to save them all seats.
Well, so it's, to me, and this may not be accurate, but it's different when you're the first person or in the very front of the line or when you're somewhere in
Yeah,
the middle.
right.
When you're in the very front, everyone's looking at you. All the eyes are going forward at
Right.
you, and you're just hoarding family members into the front, right? Like,
Right.
if you're in the middle, people are like, well, whatever. Like, they don't care.
It's less. Yeah, definitely. They care less. I like that. Yeah. So that was a good one. I threw some work ones in here. Again, this came up specifically to me. Tell me if you get this at all. Don't schedule meetings after 3 p.m. on Friday unless it's a fire drill.
Don't even schedule a fire. I don't want to hear it if it's a fire drill. Yeah, we actually just we just did a working agreement at work and said no. We have one meeting on Friday. It's called Fun Friday, and we just play games. Literally for
that
half an
sounds
hour
great.
as a team, we get to know each other and like play fun games together. That's the only meeting we can have on Friday. Period.
Right on.
Which
we had a similar something in we had no meeting afternoons on Fridays. Everybody's in a different time zone, so it
Right.
starts to kind of
It gets
whatever.
wonky.
But then, when you got that one and all of a sudden it comes in at a 4:00 in your time and you go, what? This couldn't wait?
it could.
Right,
It
it
100% can.
It could.
We don't make dialysis machines. No one's dying.
And this one was the worst one that I actually started telling people about. Is that I was backing someone up who was out of office for the week. And in around 3:30, in comes hey, you're backing up this person. Would you mind setting up a meeting for mid next week with the following people on them so that we can hash out this issue?
So that they know the issue and they know the people.
And
Just set it up. I mean, like,
and it's not even, can you set this meeting up right now because it's on fire?
it's for next week.
It's for the week, right? And Monday is when the person's coming back into office. I go, I'm just got to ask this question. Can this not wait until that person comes back in on Monday morning?
Right.
And they're like, I guess.
Or are
I'm like,
you-
you guess?
Or are you not capable of just booking a meeting?
True.
You know the issue and you know the people and you know the person who's supposed to do it is coming back on Monday. Just do it for them.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. We've talked a lot about that in the past.
Why is that a problem?
Somehow our job titles have gotten us to where we're meeting setter-uppers.
Right.
And if you're like not a PM, program manager, whatever, if you're like, engineer, I can't.
I don't have the
can't-
capacity
I can't
to set up a
meetings.
meeting in Outlook. Like,
All right.
freaking help us out. We're all on the same team here, right? Like, just book the meeting. Come on. Anyway,
I'm gonna say this is where I thought we were gonna rate a beer because we talked a longer.
Holy Moses.
I know, but that's how it goes. Where I
Yeah.
have I'm like, I got these bullet points, and we probably won't spend a lot of time on it, but then we have fun
yeah, all the way through.
berating all the people that we're
Yeah.
way better than.
Well, and I'll be honest, the
That's
first
tongue in cheek, people.
no,
I
it's
get
not.
it.
Because the first three, I was the one who was guilty of it. So then
right.
I was excited to have something that I could dog.
And I'm letting the
pile on.
people cut in line. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're super guilty.
And moving people's stuff within an hour of them setting it down.
right. So we're just as guilty as some of these as others. So
If you think of any, let me know. The last part of what I have today are what I just thought would be fun things, weird manners and etiquette of the past. Things that used to be sort of,
remember that one time you made me put wife etiquette on my
yes.
kitchen?
Still there, right?
It is
I love it.
wife etiquette from
So
the
funny.
50s. Where
Right.
it's like, hey, you should make sure you greet
Always
your,
cute, yeah.
greet your husband when he comes home from work with a warm smile because you know he's had a hard day and you haven't.
Yeah.
So that's still on our
That's awesome.
in a house full. I'm the only male. It's still on
Because I challenged you, right?
It's
I
still
said,
on the
put that
bulletin
on, put that on your fridge and see how long it takes
Yep.
someone in your house to burn that
Yeah.
in front of you. Like,
We've had some
listen,
good
you
laughs.
sexist pig.
Yeah, we've had some good laughs about it. It's like
That's awesome.
people have come over and noticed it. And I'm like, yep,
All right. So do you want to hear some fun, outdated etiquette?
I do.
Things that don't really apply anymore. So these are things that used to be very proper,
Okay.
and you were looked down upon if you did something other than. So the man should always walk on the left side of a woman.
On the left side.
Yeah. It stems from the Middle Ages. This is way outdated. But that when knights wore their swords on their left side, so it just kind of kept her out of harm's way and made it, so it wasn't in the way.
Gotcha.
But it seems like that kind of carried on for a long time.
Yeah.
It was like, it's like, oh, you should be walking
And
on
that
this
feels
side.
more natural, to be honest. I mean, like having like when we go somewhere more formal or we're walking down the street, having like my wife will hold on to my arm. It's always my right arm.
Yeah.
So I'm always on her left side.
And when you get married,
yeah, it's always left and right, right?
Yeah. It's
So
always that way.
that's really held true.
And I know a lot of people, I've heard a lot of.
And I do carry a sword, so I think that's appropriate. Just kidding.
That's the R-rated version.
Yeah.
Of this, but I love it. We got to give it one of those.
Wow.
And as of late, I've seen a bunch of people who are, that it's like, oh, I always walk on the street side. So I'm going to take the car for you. I'm just going to let you know if a car pops up and over the edge, we're both going out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll walk on that side, sure. If you feel a little bit more safe. But if a car hops that thing, I mean, we're both
toast.
We're both hitting it.
I have changed sides of how I walk based on where I think danger is to be in between.
Right.
But it's never because I'm afraid a car is going to hop. It's more like I think there's weird crowd forming somewhere, and you're like, we're going to walk by this. I'm going to walk in between you and the weird crowd that's going on, or the homeless man that's yelling obscenities for no reason and shouting at a light pole. I'm like, I'm going to be in between you two.
Right.
But
yeah. It brings to mind, do you remember we were at that bar, New Year's Eve, and it was packed gill to gill, and there was this weird group next to us, and you and I both steady moved to where we were, because they were out of control, and we thought, these people are going to start throwing.
Oh, it was going to be a riot.
And and I'm like, and so you and I posted up, like with our backs to them, but like formed a bit of a wall, and we're like, we're just going to plant it right here.
Yep, just going to stay here.
All right.
Because I'm such a menacing force. Anyway, keep going.
This goes back to another old, outdated man-woman thing. Don't shake a woman's hand unless she offers. It used to be that men really had no right to take a lady's hand until it was offered, but in today's world,
we're
basically
all equal apparently now.
Yeah, the etiquette says you should shake anyone's hand.
You should.
And not wait, which I agree with. Wedding gifts should be based on the host's price per head, which I think that's still lingering. I hear that here and there, but like basically, if you kind of know what the price per head is, that you kind of gear your
How would you
gift.
know that?
I know, and that's really kind of where it fell out of fashion. Is like you would have to really find out. But then you can also get a gift after the wedding, which actually dovetails into the next one. Is you have a year to send a wedding gift is really no longer the etiquette. They say don't wait any longer than a month. But if you don't get a wedding gift or bring it to, and then you're like, oh, it was a non-open bar. I had to pay for all my drinks, and we got just a bowl of mustachole. Maybe you might downsize your gift. I don't know. It seems kind of.
That seems weird.
And that's why it's outdated.
Okay, good.
I'm not advocating for it. I'm just, And then the rule of thumb in the etiquette book is give a gift that's in the price range that makes sense for your budget.
I love that you use the rule of thumb, which is you cannot beat your wife with a stick bigger than your thumb to talk about an outdated wedding thing, which is also outdated because you can use any size stick you want. Just kidding.
That's right. Yes, we do not advocate for that at all.
No.
No elbows on the table. I know I heard that as a kid.
Oh yeah. I think I still look at people and go, oh, like I probably do it as well though, but there's people that you go, oh, they're just like basically folded up and slouchy all over their bowl, and you're like, or like all over their plate, and you're like, oh, that's so rude.
Yeah. So I think they actually addressed when I was reading some of this, like some of these outdated ones, because I'm like, oh, these are kind of fun. It was not really talking about in the act of eating. It said if you're actually eating, don't put your elbows on the sides of the plate.
Right.
It's more when you're at a restaurant and you're waiting and you're talking. It actually said lean into the person talking. If you're just enjoying drinks and waiting for your food, and that way your elbows on the table, but you're actually engaging in conversation.
It's good nonverbal cues, right? I'm engaged. I'm focused.
Right.
Yeah. Think about it.
Adults addressing others as Mr. or Mrs. That doesn't really happen anymore. If you meet somebody that's like your kid's friends, parents, or somebody at work, unless your culture at your work prescribes it, usually you call people by their first name.
Unless it's a teacher. Like I think teachers, we still do that. Oh, maybe it's Mr. or Mrs. and their first name.
Usually it's their first name now.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Oh, this is Miss Katie.
Yes.
So, but yeah.
And I agree with that. It's kind of morphed, but for people other than teachers, it's safe to call people by their first name, unless they specifically ask for it. I did not go to medical school to be called by my first name. You will call me doctor.
That's right. If I spent 12 years in school, you have to call me by what I want.
Here's an interesting one so apparently drinking to your own toast, it was faux pas. Like if somebody was toasting you, right? Say it's your birthday, and
you don't get to drink.
You don't drink because it's akin to applauding for yourself, right?
You don't applaud for yourself.
Well, now you do. Everybody's just applauding everything they do.
Do you not get a trophy anymore? No. That's weird. Thank God that fell out of style.
So, but that was a big thing back in the past. It was like you accept the toast. And then if you make a toast, you drink. Also with toasting, you're not supposed to clink glasses. In a while back, that was really bad.
Where'd that come from then?
Like apparently less manufactured well glasses because it could lead to breaking glasses. But essentially back in the day, you were just supposed to lift your hand, like you up in the air. So the whole clinking thing
I'm with you.
sort of evolved, and now people do it, obviously, and it's not bad etiquette. It's just kind of been accepted. This one dates all the way back to 1890. Never ask a direct question. I loved this one because I thought for a week I would love to try to live this.
1890?
Victorians found it incredibly rude to ask a direct question. So you don't ask somebody like, how are you doing? You say, I hope you're doing well. And then or if you go, don't go, do you like that food I prepared you? It is, I hope the food is going down well.
And you hope that they respond in a positive manner.
Yes. That putting them on the spot as a direct question was very rude. I thought that would be kind of fun just to see. I don't think anybody would notice because I think you could do it in a manner that just was natural if you were thinking about it, but other people weren't.
It would take such intentionality though for me to not ask. Did you like this? That's my whole game is on a scale of 1 to 10. How good is this for you? Like my whole game is intentional questions.
Me coming into the kitchen, like there is stuff on the island that isn't mine.
I hope it doesn't bother anyone.
I hope it goes to a space that is someone else's. In 1900, children should never contradict. So that's fallen out.
Yeah.
One of the rules children were expected to follow is being seen and not heard. Childs should keep their opinions to themselves. That is a complete, I'd say, 180.
I wish they would, though.
Right. Shut up.
Shut up until you have a good opinion.
Right. You know nothing.
You haven't listened to me enough to have a good opinion.
That's right. Listen to me more. Talk less. You will learn something.
You will have an opinion when you're 18.
Let's see. I think I'm on the last couple here. Yeah, I just got 2 more left. In 1900s, did you know that calling cards, like you go, hey, that's their calling card. That was an actual thing. If you showed up to somebody's house to come visit them and they weren't there, that you were supposed to leave an actual card. And then that card was supposed to be left by the woman. It had its own set of standards, but that was the main one, is that the wife
wrote a card that says we came by.
Yes. It's like the pre-phone, pre-voicemail, pre-texting, you write a card that says, I came here to visit and you weren't here. Please call upon us later at your
earliest convenience.
At your convenience.
We rode in a carriage here. It took us 3 days. We couldn't call in advance because there are no phones.
If it was that far away, I would hope you would send a telegram or a letter ahead of time to say we're coming. But if you're in the same city, back in the day, you could still,
you go across town, right?
Somebody,
no one's there, and you're like, dang it, they went to the store.
Yeah. And it was the fact that it was only the wife or the woman, the female, that was supposed to write and put the card down. Like if somebody saw a man putting a card down, it's like, I don't have my wife with me. I promise. Like it's okay.
I wonder. It's probably because she had better penmanship.
Yeah, I can read it.
My wife does.
Oh, so does mine. I print and everything, and I love it because I think printing is actually very, very efficient and economical and very easy to read. But it's not formal, if you will. And then the last one, this was interesting from 1915, going back to weddings, but the last couple were way back. So wedding guests couldn't get in unless they had a card, an admittance card. So you didn't necessarily have to RSVP. That wasn't a thing.
But you had to bring
your card. and they would not let you in. It was sort of a job of somebody to go, show me that you're okay to be here, which I thought was kind of wild.
That is kind of wild.
And could you imagine? You're like, I forgot my card. You can't get in. But I'm like the cousin.
Right. Too bad.
If you ask them, they'll know me. Sorry. Doesn't
matter.
Go get your card. Maybe you'll make it back for the toast.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
I like it.
Did you think of anything? I know we're at time, actually a little bit over, but any manners, etiquette things that I didn't cover that?
You covered the driving one, and I covered every time we talk about driving, but please stop texting and driving. Get off your phones. I think that's one of the rudest things I see these days is people pretending like their phone is more important than the safety of all the people around them. So I'm going to PSA that one more time.
Take the pledge.
Even though I constantly, every time we talk about it, it's the one thing that grinds my gears. So that one I feel like is super rude. Like there's nothing going on your phone that's more important than you wrecking into me and me dying because of your phone. That's dumb.
Yeah. And turn on that thing that auto replies. So if you feel like you're one of those people that can't wait 24 hours to text and you feel like you have to text back, there's settings now that say, hey, I'm valuing other people's lives. I'll get to you when I'm not crashing because of it.
Perfect.
I have adjusted GPS on the fly, and I feel bad about it when I'm doing it because I'm like, this is kind of like texting, but and I'll look, So, don't text.
There are people
and I
who
almost
just
put that on there,
constantly do it, but
I feel like that's one of those where it's like it's a habitual. It's either there's the people that do it and the people that hate it.
Yep.
Right. I think for a while there when it was new, people didn't quite know. Right. They're like, oh, texting's kind of new, especially this level of texting.
Right.
And then
I can do something real quick.
Yeah. And then a couple of news stories come out where it's like, oh, this person killed 8 people because they said, oh, I would like a roast beef sandwich, right? I mean, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, be there in 10. Wham.
Right.
So
yeah,
cool.
All right. Well, did you have fun on this one? Drinking a sangria, talking manners.
I did. Thank you very much for offering this knowledge.
You're welcome, my good sir.
I feel like that was good manners.
Thanks you.
Thanks you.
May I please end the show now, ladies and gentlemen? See how nicely I asked? I'll take your silence as a yes, and you're very much welcome.